I'm standing nearly 90 floors up, and the thing behind me weighs as much as 100 elephants. It's made of solid gold-colored steel.
A giant golden ball hangs inside one of the world's tallest skyscrapers. It weighs 660 tons. That's like 100 adult elephants fused into a single steel ball, suspended high above the city. It simply hangs there, in the heart of the building, on thick steel cables, nearly 90 stories high. And it's not decoration or an art object. This ball is the only reason the skyscraper doesn't collapse during typhoons and earthquakes. Moreover, during the strongest natural disasters, this ball begins to sway on its own, swinging from side to side by almost 1.5 meters. And tourists can stand nearby and watch it happen. This is Taipei 101, and this golden ball is a brilliant piece of engineering that saves thousands of lives. Here's how it works. Now look why the building needs a ball at all. Taipei, the capital of Taiwan, and one of the most dangerous places on the planet to build skyscrapers. Because two elements converge here. The first is earthquakes. Taiwan lies at the junction of tectonic plates, and the ground here shakes constantly. And just a few hundred meters from the site where they decided to build the tower, there is a major geological fault. The second element is typhoons. Every year the island is battered by monstrous storms with winds of over 200 kilometers per hour. And in this place, on the shaking ground, right at the fault under the typhoon's lashes, Taiwan decided to build the tallest building in the world. Here's the engineering challenge. The taller the building, the more it sways. A skyscraper half a kilometer high is essentially a giant mast stuck in the ground. The wind hits it, and the top begins to sway. An earthquake hits it from below, and the building sways even more. And there's a tricky trap here. You can't make a building completely rigid. A rigid tower would simply crack and break under such loads.
Right beneath my feet runs one of the most dangerous fault lines on Earth. Add typhoon winds over 200 kilometers an hour.
So it needs to be slightly flexible so it can bend without breaking. But if it's flexible, it sways. And when a half-kilometer tower sways, people on the upper floors become physically ill. Nausea, dizziness, panic. How do you build a building that's flexible enough not to break, but doesn't sway so much that it's uninhabitable? And the swaying isn't just dangerous because it makes people sick. There's something even more frightening. Resonance. Every building has its own vibration frequency, its own rhythm, to which it likes to sway. And if wind or tremors start to strike at the same rhythm, the swaying doesn't die down, but rather grows stronger. Shock after shock, the amplitude grows stronger. Like when you swing a swing, pushing it in time with the rhythm. In the worst case, this can destroy the structure. It's resonance, not the wind itself, that is the secret killer of tall buildings. Therefore, it's not enough to just make a tower strong. You need to somehow disrupt this growing rhythm, preventing the building from entering into resonance with the elements. It's important to understand the difference between the two enemies. Wind is a predictable enemy. It presses for a long time, and in one direction, the building tilts smoothly, and the pendulum has time to balance it gracefully. An earthquake, however, is a different matter entirely. The jolt is sharp, brief, and comes from below, jerking the entire building in all directions at once. Such a sudden impact is more difficult for a giant, unwieldy sphere to cope with. By its very nature, it dampens the slow, rhythmic sway of the wind better than a sudden seismic jolt. Therefore, the flexible frame itself, which bends and absorbs the impact, is the primary defense against earthquakes, while the sphere adds stability from above. Each element has its own line of defense, and together they make the tower nearly invulnerable. And now the numbers themselves. Taipei 101 is 508 meters tall, with 101 floors. At the time of its construction, it was the tallest building on the planet. It held this title from 2004 to 2010, until it was surpassed by the Burj Khalifa in Dubai. And somewhere at a height of almost 90 floors, suspended inside it, is that very same sphere. 5.5 meters in diameter, weighing 660 tons, the largest and heaviest damper of its kind in the world. On paper, it's insane. All that remained was to build it, and immediately comes a question that few ask. How did they even lift a 600-ton steel ball almost to the 90th floor? No crane in the world could lift such a mass to such a height. The answer is, it wasn't lifted in one piece. The ball isn't monolithic, but assembled from 41 layers of thick steel plates welded together. These plates were hoisted up in sections, and the ball itself was welded on site, right there, between the 87th and 92nd floors. Essentially, the giant steel ball was grown inside the building, layer by layer, like an onion. Assembling the components alone took about a year. First, let's talk about the building's skeleton itself, because without it, the sphere is useless. A typical skyscraper relies on a central core, but for such a high-rise building in such a dangerous zone, that's not enough. So the engineers created a dual system. At the center is a powerful, reinforced core, and around the perimeter are 8 enormous steel megacolumns, the building's thickest supports. These columns are filled with concrete from the inside up to a certain height, giving the building incredible strength. Every few floors, the core and the outer columns are connected by steel trusses, like stiffeners. The result is a very strong yet flexible framework. It bends in the wind without breaking. But a framework alone is not enough. It protects against collapse, but it doesn't protect against pitching, and that's where the sphere comes in. Speaking of heights, to carry people up to the 100th floor, the tower was equipped with some of the fastest elevators in the world when it opened. They accelerate so fast that they whisk you from the ground almost to the top in just a few dozen seconds. It's as ear-popping as being on a plane. And to prevent passengers from feeling nauseous from the pressure drop at such speeds, the cabins were sealed with a pressure equalizing system. An entire skyscraper isn't just a frame and a sphere. It's comprised of thousands of engineering solutions that the average person wouldn't even consider as they ascend to the observation deck in a couple of minutes. So, the main character. How can a giant ball stop an entire skyscraper from swaying? And here's a brilliant solution that makes this video worth watching. Engineers suspended a huge steel ball inside the top of the tower on long cables. Essentially, it's a pendulum. A giant pendulum weighing 660 tons. This thing is called a tuned mass damper. Now, watch the trick. When the wind pushes the tower in one direction, the building begins to tilt, say, to the right. But the ball, suspended on the cables, lags behind due to its inertia, and, according to the laws of a pendulum, swings in the opposite direction, to the left. And this monstrous weight swinging to the left pulls the building back, damping its tilt. Tower to the right, ball to the left, tower to the left, ball to the right. The ball constantly works in antiphase and dampens the oscillation. The key word here is tuned. The ball doesn't just swing haphazardly. Its weight, the length of its cables, and the speed of its swing are precisely tuned to the natural frequency of the building itself. Simply put, the ball is tuned to swing in exactly the same rhythm as the tower, only in the opposite direction. It's as if the building has a dance partner who always steps in the opposite direction, preventing it from falling. Thanks to this, the ball dampens up to 40% of the tower's swing. Almost half of the swing is simply absorbed by this suspended pendulum. The ball's weight wasn't chosen at random. It's not a matter of the heavier, the better. Engineers calculated it so that the pendulum's mass was the right proportion of the building's overall weight, and the length of the cables set the right swinging rhythm. A ball that was too light wouldn't be able to handle such a massive force. A ball that was too heavy would swing at the wrong rhythm and could even cause damage, rocking the building instead of calming it. 660 tons and the specific suspension length are the result of precise calculations tailored to each specific tower. Essentially, the pendulum is individually tuned for each building, like a musical instrument tuned to the right note. But a pendulum alone isn't enough. The energy also needs to be channeled somewhere. After all, if you simply hang a weight, it will swing for a very long time. That's why special dampers are attached to the ball. Essentially, huge shock absorbers, like those in a car's suspension. When the ball swings, these dampers resist its motion and convert the vibration energy into heat. The storm energy, which should have shaken the tower, ends up simply slightly warming these pistons and dissipating. The wind hits the building, and its force quietly dissipates in the pendulum's dampers. That's how the storm loses to the ball. And this balloon has insurance for the worst-case scenario. What if the impact is so strong that the balloon swings too far and crashes into the building's structure? For this purpose, a powerful stopper, a thick steel pin, is located underneath the balloon. It prevents the balloon from veering sideways more than about 1.5 meters. Even in the fiercest typhoon, the balloon won't break loose and fly away. Its movement is strictly limited. And at the very top in the tower's spire are 2 small, identical dampers, each weighing several tons. They dampen the vibration of the thin spire, preventing it from loosening in the wind over time. Protection is built in at all levels. It's worth considering for a second what people on the upper floors actually feel. Without the damper in a strong typhoon, the top of the half-kilometer-high tower would sway a good meter, back and forth, slowly and nauseatingly, much like the pitching motion of a ship. At such heights, people actually suffer from seasickness, in skyscrapers. Dizziness, nausea, and water splashing in glasses. The ball eliminates almost half of this motion, and the swaying becomes so gentle that most people below don't even notice it. In other words, the damper not only saves the structure from destruction, it saves thousands of people from a normal workday turning into seasickness at altitude. And now for what makes Taipei 101 truly unique. Typically, these dampers are hidden deep in the technical floors, behind closed doors, and no one ever sees them. But Taipei engineers were so proud of their ball that they turned it into a landmark. They painted the ball gold, illuminated it, and opened it up to tourists. Now, anyone from the observation deck can stand and gaze upon this gigantic golden pendulum in person. The ball even has its own cartoon mascot. This engineering detail, hidden in other skyscrapers, has become a star attraction here, drawing tourists. It's the only damper in the world that has been turned into an attraction. And now comes the most spectacular part. This ball isn't just hanging there for show, it's been seen in action, more than once. During powerful typhoons, tourists have witnessed the golden ball visibly sway from side to side. In 2015, when a particularly strong typhoon hit Taiwan, the ball swung a full meter from its center, a record in the building's history. Imagine, you're standing on the 90th floor, a storm rages outside, and right in front of you, a 600-ton golden ball slowly and ponderously swings back and forth, saving the tower right before your eyes. It's both eerie and mesmerizing. But the real test came not from the wind, but from the ground. In April 2024, Taiwan was struck by the strongest earthquake in 25 years, magnitude 7.4. Buildings collapsed and landslides occurred across the island. And now, look at Taipei 101. The video shows how, during this monstrous tremor, the half-kilometer-tall tower stood almost motionless, swaying barely perceptibly. While the earth shook around it, the ball inside it absorbed every movement of the building, dampening its vibrations. The skyscraper, standing a few hundred meters from the fault, survived one of the most powerful earthquakes in the island's history, and survived without serious damage. It was the best publicity imaginable. The engineering worked exactly as intended. The idea proved so successful that it was adopted worldwide. After Taipei 101, enormous pendulum dampers began to be installed in skyscrapers across the planet, from New York to Shanghai. Some use a steel ball, others a giant block of concrete suspended by cables, and still others an entire tank of water, sloshing in the opposite direction and dampening the rocking motion. The principle is the same everywhere. Give the building a partner that swings in the opposite direction. Taipei 101 didn't invent this idea from scratch, but it made it famous, largely because it didn't hide its ball, but showed it to the world. A single golden pendulum changed the way humanity constructs tall buildings in hazardous areas. That's the whole point. Taiwan wanted to build the world's tallest building in one of the most dangerous places on the planet, on trembling ground near a fault line, subject to typhoon attacks. And instead of simply making the walls thicker and thicker, the engineers took a clever approach. They allowed the building to be flexible so it wouldn't break, and they combated the swaying motion not with brute force, but with intelligence. They suspended a giant pendulum inside, which always swings in the opposite direction and dampens the impact of the elements. They didn't try to overcome the wind and earthquake with force, they balanced them. A ball against the storm, inertia against the elements. And you know what's most beautiful about this idea? It's incredibly ancient in its essence. The same principle, being flexible and swaying with the elements rather than resisting them rigidly, has been used for centuries in Eastern architecture. Ancient Japanese pagodas and Chinese palaces survived earthquakes for centuries precisely because they could bend and sway rather than stand rigid. The engineers of Taipei 101 took this ancient wisdom and pushed it to the limits of high technology, suspending a golden ball weighing as much as 100 elephants in the heart of the skyscraper. An old idea, a new embodiment. But balancing a skyscraper on a sphere is one thing. But what if you need to build it where there's no land at all? An entire airport on an island that's been sinking since day one? Or supporting the world's tallest hotel on sand in the middle of the sea? That's for next time. If you're interested in how man outsmarts the elements again and again, subscribe. We only discuss stories like that here. See you at the next impossible structure.